The Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew, the 28th chapter. Glory to you, O Lord. After the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descending from heaven came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning and his clothing white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has been raised, as he said. Come, see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has been raised from the dead, and indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you." So they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." And they came to him, took hold of his feet, and worshiped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers and sisters to go to Galilee. There they will see me." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Please be seated, everyone. My favorite opening, and actually it's the end of a movie, my favorite opening to Easter Sunday, that glorious event that only our minds can conjure up what the resurrection must have been like. When I lived in Japan with my family, when I was stationed over there, we used to experience earthquakes once in a while. Anybody ever experienced an earthquake? Some of you, if you lived in California, you know the shaking, or even any other places. Nothing is more uncertain than being in one. Nothing feels stable. Everything's shaken. Everything's tottering. It's just crazy. Today, on this glorious Easter Sunday, we are celebrating Matthew's gospel version, and he presents the resurrection as an earthquake experience. The event itself and its consequences are seismic. Matter of fact, the Greek term that Matthew uses is seismos. This whole week, this Holy Week, we have the victorious entrance into Jerusalem, the washing of the feet, the Last Supper, the tragic trial and crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And this day, we come to that seismic event. Now, each gospel, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, depicts the first Easter in their own particular way. That's not unusual. If I would pick four of you and explain an event that you all saw, you would say it in your own particular way, and there would be distinctiveness, there would be similarity, etc. In the Gospels on Easter, we have depiction of confusion, disbelief, wonder, reunion. But for Matthew, for the Gospel of Matthew today, it's a triumph. God, his unleashing of his power. Here are these points in the gospel that you just heard. The natural world is affected. We have an earthquake. Rocks are broken in half. The earth shook. The temple of the curtain of the temple was torn in two. So we have that effect. We also have an angel appearing in bright radiance, breaking any kind of barrier between heavenly and earthly realms. You also have that same angel rolling the stone and using it as a chair, mocking at its great weight the empire that rolled it there, and finally, in the finality of death it represented. We have the guards overwhelmed and were shocked, almost like they were dead. The imperial seal was broken. These are the things that Matthew is setting before us this day. This is what God does for us. This is all God's work and power. Keep that in mind. This day is about God. It is not about us. It's not about how we look, whether we came to the first service, second service, where we're going afterwards, etc., etc., etc. The response of that first Easter original witness in Matthew is worship and obedience. not some sense of cockiness and assurance and fantasies about their own authority. My goodness, we deal with that each and every day of our lives, don't we? People in authority thinking they're God's gift to the world, and in reality, they're very selfish and only God's gift to themselves. They use power for the sake of themselves and not for the sake of others. I'm reminded that as a witness of Jesus Christ, as a follower of Jesus Christ, I am to love God by loving my neighbor, not dividing my neighbor by color, by religion, by whatever country they came, but to love people. God loves diversity. He sees unity in that. He sees strength in that. I love the term mosaic because that's what we are. We're all shining, individual, beautiful pieces that come together as a whole. The cockiness gives way to the church even failing miserably historically, co-opting the divine authority for some agenda. We struggle with Christian nationalism today. They're doing the very same thing. They're using Christ as somehow the excuse for going to war. I'm reminded of the Jesus who said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, not the warmongers." They try to advance their own agenda. Every major denomination from the beginning of the Christian church has done it. It's time to stop. It's time to hear the message this day that God is in control. God is answering this for us, the answer to what we struggle with. Today we celebrate God's victory over the grave. God's determination to boot death out of the world. I know for a fact each and every one of you has experienced someone in your life who's died. I certainly have. As a pastor, you experience and work with families all the time. I had a funeral home next to me, so I did a lot of services with people I didn't even know, but I had the privilege of walking and working with people who lost their loved ones. There's no greater pain. That's why we're here. That's Easter is yes, we celebrate, we sing beautiful music, but we also think of our brothers and sisters, our mothers and fathers, aunts, uncles, kids who are no longer here, and we're thinking, what's it going to be like when we die? Because we all will die. Is this promise true? Is it real to us today? That's what we celebrate, God's victory over the grave. It matters that a crucified man, a man that Rome sought to make a nobody, was raised from the dead. You know, we still live in that kind of time. Tyrants and empires give endless energy, brothers and sisters, towards maintaining the power of silence. They silence their critics and their foes out of fear. They know that nothing silences like death and the threat of it. See what happened when a ragtag team of disciples decide to witness the resurrection, offer testimony in response to state-sanctioned death. See what can happen when the dead get a chance to speak beyond the veil. Jesus has done this for us. Jesus' name that we celebrate at Christmas time is what? Emmanuel. Jesus came not to fix us, brothers and sisters, but to save us. He has made that message, God with us, Emmanuel, real in flesh and blood of human experience. None of us knows exactly what's going on in anybody else's life. We can be married to someone for 10, 20, 30, 50 plus years, and they are still a mystery. We assume we do. We get signs if we know how they're going to, those of us been married a long time can respond and answer, just by body language. That's the fun part. But the reality is what we don't know, what we're called to on this day to love our neighbor, is how good we are, how good the ego is at hiding what's going on inside. Good morning, how are you doing this morning? Not knowing that person perhaps just lost their mother. Or they're weeping inside because they're struggling with personal depression. And what about all those that hide their addictions? Gambling, alcohol, drugs. They can only do it for so long, and then it comes bailing out into the forefront of people. You know, the key here is to remember that when you're having a crappy day and you're off to work in a hurry, you forgot your lunch, you're rushing, someone cuts you off in traffic, you get there, and then someone says, hey, you got a dime, you got a buck, whatever, and you need to just take a breath, breathe, get it out, and whatever you can do, take care of that. To smile to someone that you may not know that they are at their wits' end, that this day may be the day they choose to take their life. The holding of the door, the saying, hey, you look nice today, you know, just those little things that are big things in the world of our human flesh and blood and experiences of what it means to be alive. Those things we tend to take for granted. But when you work in this arena, you're a doctor, a nurse, a pastor, a social worker, a teacher, all those arenas. If you're a business person, learning to know your employees and caring about them, not necessarily in a nosy way, but to know what's going on and to remember them and celebrate. So often we need that. We live too much in division. This day is about unity. This day is about God with us, not fixing us, but saving us from that kind of stuff that gets in the way. If you want to know proof of this, every story, every parable, every teaching that Jesus has in the New Testament, he is comforting those who are afflicted. He gives sight to the blind. He allows those who are lame to walk. The woman at the well is finally said, you are beautiful. Basically, I accept you as you are. And on it goes. The parable of the workers in the vineyard, and on it goes. It's to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. Jesus preached to the empire that had the power and used it against people. We are called in service to care about people. Easter is a celebration of life, about living out, following that pathway of love to care for others. On this Easter, we remember we are in a relationship with God. He started it, and he promised to finish it with abundant life. See, there's even music playing. God has given us beauty for ashes. God has given us strength for anguish. God has given us gladness for mourning and peace for despair. Now, I remind you, those things will exist in our lifetime, but God is with us in the midst of it. That is uniquely different. The best care that we can give to one another when someone is hurting, regardless of what it is to come by them, to know them, to sit down, and to say nothing at all. Your presence is the gift that brings the balm of healing, of letting them know that you understand that we're together in this, that God's got you. In Jesus, God has returned even death, yes, even death, for abundant life. Every violence, he has turned into peace. Every depth of the tears of the human heart into a triumph of faithfulness and redemption. Brothers and sisters, this is a seismic event of great consequence. This is Easter. Amen.